Hi class, welcome to Monday, September 30th, OLL. It looks like I'm the only person here for this lesson tonight, so I will be covering the practice 10 assignment, which covers the pen tool and how to create vector paths. So in terms of what's coming due, both chapter 8 and practice 10 are due tomorrow, and then chapter 9 is due on Thursday. And on Saturday, your critique posting 2, which is over the World Hunger Fair, is due, along with mini composition. The mini composition project is another 100-point project where you're going to be putting all of your skills, newly learned Photoshop skills, to work. So the Thursday night OLL would be devoted to answering any questions you guys have or helping you with the assignment. So I'm happy to talk through your ideas and what you're trying to accomplish in that assignment. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to sharing my screen. And I will also be recording this with screencast so that you can watch this on my YouTube channel. All right. Let's get started. So I have already downloaded the start file as well as the instructions. So practice 10 covers the pen tool, which is probably one of the harder tools to use in Adobe Photoshop. It's actually one of the foundational tools of Adobe Illustrator. It is used to create vector paths, or those Bezier curves that we've been talking about a little bit. It takes a long time to master this tool. So remember, this is practice. Remember, in a 100 level class. So I know you're going to get frustrated. That's okay. You can always just delete and start over. It's never one and done in Photoshop. And so this tool, the way it works is you're going to use the mouse and the keyboard at the same time. So I have a couple of different practices. There's several different layers in this file. You'll see that I have, we start with one layer group, curves practice, and we're going to create 3 more layer groups with some different practices. So I'm going to take you through the curves practice and the key, and then you're going to do the hand and the starfish on your own. And it's all just about using, like I said, the pen tool, which works with chapter 8. So I have you guys do chapter 8 first and then do this practice assignment. And again, it takes a long time to master this tool. Once you do master, once you start getting comfortable with it, it might become one of your favorite tools. It's actually one of my favorite tools because you can really use it to make precise selections. It's really nice if you have some shape, like this hand is an organic shape, this starfish is an organic shape. You can make some really nice, precise shapes with the pen tool. And if you guys take if you take the advanced Photoshop in the spring, you'll definitely get to explore this a lot more. All right, so remember, I have the print out the instructions. There's a lot of really good information. I'm not going to go through all of the information on the first page, but I will talk about this file. I actually use this image a lot in the class and in the assignment. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save the file with my name. There we go. Okay. And so when we talk about the pen tool, we talk about curves, and curves come in 4 flavors or 4 varieties, or you're drawing curves in 4, they follow 4 different types of paths. And so right up here we have what's a corner, which is a straight line to a straight line. It's kind of making a 90-degree angle or any form of an angle, but that uses straight lines. Then the next kind of path we have is a straight line to a curve. So when you go from straight and then you move to a curved shape, okay? And so you're changing the direction of how this curve works. The S shape, or curve to curve smooth, this is the natural way that the pen tool wants to work. It's the natural flow of how the pen tool works, and I'll show this one when we work through it. And then the hardest one, but probably one of the most common directions that you're going to do, is a curve to curve corner. So you're making this hump, and then you're making a hump in the same direction. Instead of the opposite direction, like this S above here, you're going this hump shape. And so it's all about these directions that we're going to be creating. When you draw with the pen tool, you're going to create paths, and paths consist of anchor points and direction lines. And so anchor points, which are, when we work on it here in a minute, this will be where the red dots are. These points designate where the paths begin and end. And then the direction lines, they come out of these points, determine the shape of the curve or how that arc is going to flow. So using the pen tool, excuse me, is right over here on the tools panel. And you'll see there's actually the pen tool, freeform pen, curvature pen, which is really really cool. This was newly added. Then you can add anchor points and delete anchor points, and we can convert the point tool. I'm actually going to show you how to do this tool using the keyboard shortcuts. We're going to do that tonight, but we're just going to pretty much focus on the pen tool tonight. And then along with the pen tool, you're going to use the path selection and direct selection, the black and white arrows. These tools are to be used in conjunction with the pen tools. They all kind of work together. And you'll notice they're grouped next to the text tool as well as the shape tool. These are all vector-based tools. So they all create these vector shapes, which we know are based on mathematical equations, meaning we can resize them very large, very small, without losing any kind of clarity. Okay, so moving on, I'm on page 2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fit the image to the window. I always like to do that. And we're going to be working over here on this curves practice layer group. So it says, ensure you're on the click points layer. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the click points. You'll see these are all locked. I have them locked for a reason so that when we start to insert things, it doesn't mess up these layers I've created, which is just to help with the tutorial. I'm going to reset the foreground and background color to black and white over here. And then I'm going to choose a bright foreground color. So I'm going to click on the tool. I will pick green. I will pick blue and match my instructions and click OK. I will click on the pen tool. And then on the options bar, I'm going to choose shape from the drop-down list. And I'm going to set the fill to none and the stroke to the blue that I picked. And I'm going to set the stroke width to 10 pixels. Okay, actually, I'll just type in 10. Just as this, so it makes it easy to see. We're just basically tracing is what we're going to be doing. All right, so we're going to practice tracing the first shape. So all you really have to do with the pen tool, it's a lot of clicking or clicking and dragging. So I'm going to click one time, and then I'm letting go of the mouse. It starts this anchor point. Okay, now if I just click again, boom, it draws a straight line. And if I click a third time at the bottom, boom, it draws a straight line. Okay, now I'm going to undo, I'm going to go backwards in time and start again. If I really wanted these to be perfect, I could set my first point, and then if I hold the shift key down, that's going to draw a perfectly straight line. And then keeping the shift key down again, I'm going to get that perfect right angle. So remember, the shift key is going to help us constrain those, constrain the angles in this case and allow us to draw these straight lines. Now my pen tool is active. This path is the active path. So, and I can see if I come over here to paths, you'll see that I have the beginning of a shape. In fact, you can see that I have it looks just like that shape right here, shape path 1. It gets created. It's a temporary path while this path is active. We get a path that's created. And what we can do in the future when we create closed paths is you can save these paths and turn them into selections. Okay, so that's a really easy way to create another type of selection, is using a path. All right, we're going to go back to the layers panel, and I'm going to press enter, and that sets the path, and you can see how it's not selected anymore. Okay. I'm going to select the click points layer to make it the active layer again, and you'll see that it actually added a shape layer in here. So when you draw with the pen tool, you're creating a shape. Even though it's not a filled shape, it still creates a shape layer. All right. This time I'm going to draw the straight to curve, the second one. I'm going to click, and I'm going to hold the shift key down and click again. That draws that straight line. Now, this time when I'm going to click, this time I'm actually going to click, I'm holding the mouse, and I'm dragging down and to the right. And I'm moving my cursor to shape that path. So you can see I now have this direction line. This is the direction line that is attached to this anchor point. And so you can use that, excuse me, to shape the curve. Okay, so that's how I would draw. Anything that's not a straight line, that's where you're going to be clicking and dragging. All right, press enter to set the path. You'll see I got another shape layer here. I'm going to make click points the active layer. I'm going to drag this up. Actually, it's going to be down here. Yeah, underneath the top. Okay, we're going to draw the next one. Now, this is the third curve. This time I'm going to be doing a lot of clicking and dragging. So I'm going to click to set the first one. Click, hold, and drag to set the second point. You can see I got that shape. And now if I click, hold, and drag up, you can see I'm getting that kind of S, that smooth S on it's a side shape. It's not exact. That's okay. Just kind of following it. That's that. And if I continue to click out here, you'll see I'm getting that. It's making that kind of S shape. That is the natural. If I click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, that is the shape that I would get. Okay. I'm going to go back in the history panel. We'll do this one again. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag, and click and drag up and to the right. Okay, and you can see how these direction lines follow, the curve follows these direction lines. So that's, you know, that's how I'm manipulating the path, pressing enter. Now this last one, you know, I'm going to click and drag down and to the right. Okay. And actually I'm going to undo this. I'm going to zoom in so I have a little bit more room. Okay. Back to the pen tool. Go back to my layers panel. Click on click points. All right, so I'm going to click and drag down and to the right. Okay. Now, if I come back down here and I click down to the right, you can see I'm not getting the shape that I want. Because remember, this is actually, if I pull up and to the right, that's that natural curve, Control Z. Instead, I want to make another curve in the same direction. So what I have to do is I have to tell the direction line to change direction. And so there's a couple ways to do it. Literally, I've let go of the mouse. See, I'm just moving around. I'm not doing anything. I'm holding the Alt key down, and you can see when I hold the Alt key down and I hover over this anchor point, I get this little caret that's saying change direction. And if I click, it got rid of that direction line. So now when I go to the second curve, look at that. I could get that beautiful curve again. It got rid of that direction line. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one again. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click. I'm going to click, hold, and drag. Now, I have not let go of the mouse. If I hold the Alt key down, I can just pull this direction line in as well. That's another way to do it. And then I can click, hold, and drag down and move that direction. Pull the mouse and create the direction curve. I can go ahead and press enter to set my path. And what you can do is you can use the path selection tool and the direct selection tool. The way they work, so I use the path selection tool and I click on a path. Oops, I need to be on the correct layer. So I'm on this shape 4 layer. If I click on that, I can then move it, right? That's going to let me move the object around on the layer, okay? If I use the white direct selection tool and I click on this path, I now have access to these direction curves, direction lines, and I can change how the curve works. I can manipulate how it looks. So these two tools are important. If I choose the path select and I come up here to the first shape layer and then I click on it, oops, this one, you know, I can move it, right? If I want to move the second one, click on it and move it. Okay, so the black arrow is going to let you move the path, and the white arrow is going to let you manipulate the path. Okay, all right, moving along. Okay, all right, so that's just a little bit of a practice. We're going to go ahead and collapse the curves practice layer, and then I'm going to turn it off and make the key layer visible. So we're going to work on the key layer. So this is our template. This is kind of like our practice, and we're going to draw on top of it. So I'm going to show some of the other pen tools. So ultimately what we're going to do here is we're going to draw this key. We're going to draw this circle and subtract the circle out from the key, so it would really be like a hole, and then we're going to fill it with a color, okay? So we're drawing a unique shape, all right? And through that, I will also show you how to create selections from paths. So the first one I'm going to show you, though, is I just want to point out the freeform pen tool. So the way this tool works is if I come in here and I just click, and now I'm dragging around, kind of like the freeform lasso tool, right? And I could just kind of follow it, boom, 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 going around. Don't have very steady hands. Going super fast. I get to the end. When you see that little circle, that means your path is ready to close. And you can see I created a path. Not the best. Got a little shaky there. And it added a lot of these anchor points. The goal when you're using the pen tool is you want the smoothest curve possible. You want the smoothest shape possible. And the best way to do that is have the fewest anchor points. So you as the human, if you're drawing it yourself, you know where you can set anchor points. And so the fewer you have, the smoother the curve becomes. If you use the freeform pen tool, it's just throwing in anchor points wherever. It's not making it smooth. You can see it's kind of jaggy. I'd have to come in and I'd have to like really work that, shape that, and manipulate it. So it's a little bit easier to just draw with the regular pen tool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and delete this layer. We don't want it. We're going to start over, make sure the key layer is active. This time I'm going to select the pen tool. And I'm going to zoom in. Actually, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to use my pen tool. All right, so I'm going to draw the shape. You can see there's straight edges and there's curves. So you can just pick anywhere to start. I'm going to just click right here. I'm going to hold the shift key down because this is a straight line, right? I know that. So, okay, boom. Now, I want this a curve here. So now I'm going to click, hold, and drag and just kind of shape it. Okay, that's good. Now I know this is a straight line. So I'm going to hold the shift key down and click. But when I did that, it still had a curve because remember, I'm in curve mode. Control Z. So when I'm going from curve to straight, I need to get rid of that direction line so I can draw, so there is no curve. So I can just hold the Alt key down and click at the anchor point. That gets rid of it. Now I can hold the shift. Shift, shift, click, shift, click, shift, click. They're just drawing all these straight lines, right? Straight, straight. So that's pretty easy, right? It doesn't have to be totally exact. Now I know that this is straight to about here, and then there's a little curve. So I'm going to draw a straight line. I'll hold the shift key down, click to about here. Now I'm going to come over here to the other side of the curve. I'm going to click, hold, and drag, right? And I'm kind of shaping that curve, right? Now I have not let go of the mouse. I know that I have to change direction again because I'm going from a curve to a straight. So I'm going to hold the Alt key down and pull that in. And then I'm going to click, shift, click. Whoops, Control Z. I'm just going to click, okay? Now I'm going again from straight to curve. So I'm going to maybe, you could try do half. Might not work. Some students like to use the that semicircle that shapes it, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this in quarters. So I'm going to kind of drag this here. Click, hold, and drag. If I don't like it, Control Z, maybe I'll come to here. Oh, Control Z. So I don't like this curve, so I might get rid of the, click an Alt, right? Click and drag, that's not too bad. Click and drag, not too bad. Okay, it's a little bit edgy here because I changed the direction line, so I'm going to come back up here. Whoops. So if I just wasn't even thinking, I'm going to go ahead and click Alt, get rid of that direction. Okay. I know there's a curve here. Click and drag, get rid of the direction, click. So there I go. We've got a pretty decent shape. Not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, this is practice. You can spend time making it perfect. Absolutely. I mean, of course, I want you to do that, but we are in an 8-week accelerated course, so practice it a few times for sure. And then, you know, if you, if and when, hopefully when you take the Illustrator course, you spend your whole time using the pen tool. So the pen tool is one of the foundational tools of Illustrator, so you'll use that a lot in there. All right, I'm gonna press enter to set my path. And then I'm gonna open up the paths panel. You see I have this temporary shape created, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it into a selection. So from the options menu, this is the options menu, I can choose, whoops, I have to click on the path. Sorry, from the options menu, I'm going to choose make selection. Okay, and I'm just going to leave the default settings and click OK. And whoa, look at that. There are the marching ants. How easy was that? Now I want to save my selection so I can use it later. I can turn it into an alpha channel. Remember, that's a save selection. So I can go up to select, save selection, and I'm going to call this key selection. And click OK. And to prove to you, if you go to channels, there it is. There's the key selection. I'm going to save my file. All right, I'm going to go back to my layers, deselect, which is Control D, turns off the selection. I'm going to go back and choose the key layer. So now I've drawn the key. Now I'm going to draw the circle. So this time, I just want to draw a perfect circle. So I don't want to use the selection tool. I want to use the shape tool. Some students get confused with these two. So what I'm asking you to do is actually use the shape tool here. So I'm going to click on the ellipse, and then I know if I hold the shift key down, I'm going to get a perfect circle. And if I hold the alt key down, I know that I can draw from the center out. So I'm holding, oops. Where was I? I'm going to hold the shift key down. Oh. Okay, never mind, disregard. I'm holding the shift key down. I'm not using the alt key, that's only with the selection tool. It doesn't work with the shape tool. And then now I'm holding the space bar down so that I can kind of move it. Remember, if I hold the space bar down, that lets me move my selection at the same time. I've let go of the space bar, I let go of the mouse, now I let go of the shift key. Okay, I will do that again. All right, so I'm going to choose the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold the shift key down. In fact, I'm just going to start drawing it over here, right? Now if I hold while I'm holding shift, I also hold the space bar, and now I can move that. Let go of space bar, draw more, space bar, let go of space bar, let go of mouse, let go of shift key. That was the order that I did it in. Okay, so now I have a new shape, the ellipse. All right, we're going to make the path panel active. There's the new shape. I'm going to click on it. We're going to make it a selection. Make selection with the default setting. There we go. There's my nice little outline. And then I'm going to go to select, save selection. But what I'm going to do is a little bit neat. I'm going to go to the key selection. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose subtract. So what's happening is it's going to take this active selection and it's going to subtract it from the key selection I already made. Okay? So when I click OK, you don't see anything happen. But if I go up to deselect, and now if I go select, actually if you look at it in the channels, see the little hole is right there? That's what we did, was we created the hole in that selection. If I go select, load selection, key selection, it loads the whole thing, and this is actually a hole in it. And so now I can go edit. Oops. My bad. See, even a teacher forgets. First I have to add a new layer so I can load that selection. So select. Actually, that was a question on the test, and I didn't even do it the right way. Well, I did. Load selection. Key selection, I just have to make sure it's on the layer I want to load it on. Now edit. Fill. Choose a color, any color you like. Click OK, boom, there we go. The whole thing is selected, right? If I turn off these two shapes, you don't see that black. If I turn off the key layer, Control D, there's my key. We're going to rename this layer key color. And then we're going to select all 4 of these layers and turn it into a layer group called key practice. Boom. Done. So now the next 2 are for your practice. So what you want to do is you're going to create a path of the hand, just like we did for the key, right? And you'll cut it, go across the bottom, and then you'll save it as a selection, and then you'll fill it with color. So it'll be like a vector shape, right? And that'll be its own layer group in the hand. And then you're going to do it again, this time with the starfish. Now, there are a lot of little ridges and bumps, okay? Yeah, I know. You're like, what? But it's going to give you a lot of good practice changing the curves. So I would definitely encourage you when you get here is to maybe reduce the stroke to like 5 pixels, right? So that when you start drawing this, I can click, right? So I can barely see what's happening here. So I'm going to really zoom in, right? And so you really want to zoom in. Maybe I'll get rid of this, start again, right? You really want to zoom in. Maybe I might even change this to be even lower, like 2 pixels, right? And so you can come in with the pen tool, and there we go, right? And then I'm going to hold the Alt key down and remove the direction line, because these are all those humps. Remove direction line. Humps, remove direction line, right? Alt, right? Remove direction line, Alt. Remove direction line, Alt. Right? Oh, I got a weird that's what we call a jaggy when you get this sharp edge. So Control Z. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the Alt key down and click on that to really move the direction line. There we go. We got a nice smoother curve. Alt key, click, removes direction, right? Alt key, pull it down, removes direction. They do the same thing, right? Alt key, move direction. Alt key, move direction. Hold the space bar down, move it, right? Alt key, remove direction. Straight. Curve. Alt key, remove direction. Straight. Oh, weird jaggy. Control Z. Get rid of the direction line. Alt click. Now I got a straight line. Curve. Alt remove direction. Alt remove direction. Alt remove direction. Okay, and that's what you're going to do. And you can use the space bar to move around, and that is what I'm expecting you to do. So yeah, that's a lot of work, but it is a practice. The better you get at the shape, you can spend as much time as you need, the more points you're going to get. And then you're going to take that starfish, once you've created it, a selection, you're actually going to choose Select Inverse, and you're going to delete the background. So you're going to load the selection back on. See, I'm creating a shape here, but once I have my selection, I can load the selection, click Select Inverse. It's going to select everything except the starfish, and then press Delete, and that's how you can get rid of the background. And then you can put a different background in and move it around. So make sure you check out the grading rubric for the starfish assignment. And of course, you'll make 2 more layer groups. So you have the starfish in the hand, and then also the groups for practice for the key and the curves. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. And that is worth 75 points. That's a lot of points. Well, you are going to be doing a lot of drawing on that starfish. So it's a good practice. And then, of course, email me if you have any questions. This video is only going about 30 minutes, so that's good. And again, on the Thursday night OLL, I will be using that time. I'll just be available to answer questions on the mini composition. So hopefully this helped you with the practice number 10, the paths practice, and helping you become a little bit more familiar with the pen tool. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.